Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot and Media. We begin this afternoon with the latest on Hurricane Maria. The Category 4 hurricane made landfall in southeast Puerto Rico this morning, uprooting trees and battering 2/3 of the island. 2 National Weather Service radars have been destroyed. On the forecast track, the eye of Maria will continue to move across Puerto Rico and emerge off the northern coast later this afternoon. Between tonight and Thursday, the center will pass north of the northeast coast of the Dominican Republic. And 7 people have been confirmed dead in Dominica as a result of Hurricane Maria. TVJ's Shamela Mitchell has details of the devastation.
Advisor to the Prime Minister, Hartley Henry, says the country is in a daze with no electricity and running water. There is no landline or cell phone services on the island. The main general hospital also took a beating following the passage of Hurricane Maria. Mr. Henry says patient care has been compromised. Many buildings serving as shelters lost roofs, and there is an urgent need for tarpaulins and other roofing materials.
There is the very urgent need at this time as far as housing is concerned, coverage, because many of the public buildings that were used as shelters, they themselves fell victim to this Category 5 hurricane, and many of them are now without roofs. So even though you have scores of persons gathered together in some of these shelters, they are really sleeping at night under the elements because there are absolutely no roofing structures in place.
Little contact has been made with the rural communities, but persons who walk 10 and 15 miles towards the city from various districts reported total destructions of homes, some roadways and crops. Urgent helicopter services are needed to take food, water and tarpaulins to these communities. It is hoped that with the Douglas Charles Airport not being badly damaged, it should be opened in a day or 2 for larger relief planes to land.
Plane air, both the air and sea ports are dysfunctional at this time, but we're hoping with the helicopter service into Canefield Airport, and by tomorrow we should be able to accommodate many of the vessels that will be able to dock at the Roseau Port, so that relief supplies and what have you should be able to start coming in from this afternoon by a chopper, and certainly by tomorrow by vessels.
Mr. Henry further added that Canefield Airport can accommodate helicopter landings, and it is expected that from Wednesday the waters around the main Roseau port will be calm enough to accommodate vessels bringing relief supplies and other forms of assistance. Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew, Delroy Williams, says the municipal corporation is now in a better position to help people if Jamaica should experience a hurricane. He adds that the coordination with agencies and ministries is on track and shelters are fully habitable.
Collecting data in various areas across the municipality, we are able to identify as a municipality the priority areas. The shelters we have 98 shelters, I believe, across the municipality, and they are renovated, they are relatively activated, and the managers are in place and trained, and we are exploring training other managers and community volunteers.
The Caribbean Disaster and Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, is reviewing its response to member states which have been ravaged by hurricanes. In an interview with the TVJ News, head of CDEMA, Ronald Jackson, said the proposal is to pre-deploy members to countries under hurricane watch. CDEMA was unable to immediately enter Dominica after it was battered by Hurricane Maria. Mr. Jackson believes pre-deployment will allow CDEMA to better carry out its mandate.
Pre-deployment is a good idea is simply because of the issue of access post-impact. You know, where you have island states and your mechanism is being brought from outside, it will impact on the speed at which you can put in human resources in these countries to help with some of the rapid assessment that can direct needs, to provide technical advice to the member countries where communications may be ruptured. It won't necessarily serve the issue of putting into the operational space equipment and adequate food reserves, but it will certainly allow you to put some specialized teams on the ground.
And rapid assessment teams have been deployed to St. Kitts and Nevis to determine the extent of the damage caused by Hurricane Maria. The eye of the hurricane passed south of the island yesterday afternoon. All storm watches and warnings for St. Kitts and Nevis have been lifted. Essential services are up and running. Additionally, the St. Kitts Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport reopened at 11 o'clock this morning. In other news, a police constable has been shot and killed. He has been identified as 29-year-old Nicaldo Green. Mr. Green was attached to the Stadium Police Station, and reports are that men attacked and shot him as he arrived home. They took his firearm and escaped in a waiting motor vehicle. The mother of the slain policeman spoke fondly of her son.
I tell you, saying, all right, good picnic. Manageable son, obedient picnic, no problem.
So whatever person he was in his year growing up?
See him growing up, easy son, no problem with nobody. He's a nice picnic growing up in manners of picnic.
And Police Commissioner George Coelho says the police will do everything to bring the killers of the 29-year-old constable to justice. A team of top-level detectives has been assigned to carry out the investigations. In a statement this morning condemning the murder, Mr. Coelho said the incident represents an attack on the state. The police commissioner added that the attack is a constant reminder that Jamaicans should unite and help in the fight against crime. Anyone with information may contact the headquarters of the Criminal Investigations Branch at 929-9256, Crime Stop at 311. Persons may also use the Stay Alert app to give information. Romario Brown, the man charged for the murder of fashion designer Dexter Pottinger, was remanded when he appeared before the St. Andrew Parish Court this morning. The 21-year-old tattoo artist was charged 2 weeks ago in connection with the murder. Prosecutors reported Tuesday that they are still awaiting a post-mortem report to complete the file. Mr. Brown is to return to court on November 9. The decomposing body of Dexter Pottinger was found at his residence in St. Andrew on August 31. The body had multiple stab wounds. Investigators reported that the knife used in the attack and a television stolen from Mr. Pottinger's home were found at Mr. Brown's Stony Hill residence. The 21-year-old was out on bail for the murder of a woman in St. Andrew last year. That matter is pending before the Home Circuit Court. The Legal Aid Mobile Unit recently offered assistance to residents who had challenges in Mount Salem St. James, where the zone of special operation has been declared. Director of the Legal Aid Council, Hugh Faulkner, says the unit is scheduled to visit 50 communities island-wide to provide legal aid.
He or she has redress because the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica protect the liberty of the citizen. We know there are instances when that liberty could be curtailed, but it must not be arbitrary.
Attorney at law attached to the unit, Suan Low, says residents have been cooperating with the unit.
People have been welcoming. Everybody is happy to see the unit here. We've been here outside of Zoso, and everybody is generally happy when we're here. They have lots of questions. So far we haven't had any complaints as it relates to abuse of powers when the Zoso issue. So that's good. The questions are about expungements of record, criminal issues, and land matters, divorce, that kind of thing.
Mr. Faulkner is urging persons or family members with relatives in custody or those seeking legal assistance to contact the unit at 948-6999 or 948-464861. Let me repeat that. It's 948-6999 or 984-861. Persons may also visit their office located at 72 Harbour Street, Kingston. Education Minister Ruel Reid says his ministry is anticipating the expansion of the Caribbean Maritime Institute, which will be granted university status later this month. Speaking at a function in St. Andrew yesterday, Mr. Reid says the institution will be able to maximize its performance as a major economic driver. And of course, Mr. Reid thinks that the upgrade will especially boost the country's shipping and logistics industry by providing qualified professionals. Chairman of the St. Mary Development and Disaster Company, Bobby Pottinger, is welcoming plans to rehabilitate the Junction main road between rural St. Andrew and St. Mary. Mr. Pottinger believes that the Junction corridor has deteriorated as a result of the new highway that runs from Ocho Rios to Kingston. He says large vehicles are using the Junction corridor as a means of escaping the toll. Mr. Pottinger says with the successful rehabilitation of the Junction corridor, there will be more production coming out of Portland and St. Mary. And it's time now for what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we speak to an expert about schizophrenia.
I think this is a shocking thing for most people to understand. It is preventable. And one of the things that we've clearly outlined is that once you have a supportive, emotionally engaging environment for children to grow up in, where we ameliorate psychological trauma, we're able to provide stability, consistency in care and nurturing, that you actually can impact the onset or even the prevalence of the disorder in patients who are even genetically predisposed.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Educate yourself. Learn about schizophrenia and its treatment. It will allow you to make informed decisions about how best to cope with symptoms, encourage your loved ones to pursue self-help strategies, handle setbacks, and work towards recovery.
And in sports, as the 2017-2018 Red Stripe Premier League gets set to kick off on Sunday, former national goalkeeper Richard McCallum is hoping to see some better performances from the shot stoppers. McCallum says the lack of technical personnel has led to a decline in the quality of goalkeeping in the local premiership.
Are lacking in the goalkeeping department, and the main reason we don't pay a lot of attention to it. You know, we tend to go for the strikers, the players who are skillful, etc. But goalkeeping is a very important position. It takes time, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of patience, you know, and we don't have a lot of technical people to support it.
McCallum, who played for Waterhouse FC, has been retired for the past 2 seasons, but could make a return for the Jewslands-based team in the upcoming campaign. And that's the midday news. I'm Andrea Chisholm. News next we'll have primetime news later at 7 o'clock. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.